All right. Here we are again. It is another episode of the Fernandez Legacy with my dear friend, Commissioner Roger Fernandez. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and it's always a pleasure to be with you in this podcast. I'm doing excellent.
Yes, you are.
And today it's a beautiful sunny day in Orlando.
Indeed, indeed. It's always a lovely day with you. And with everything going on in our world today, it's nice to sit down with you and have an intelligent conversation about, just the world that we live in, the politics that we have to deal with,
Yes.
and everything else. So I really appreciate this. And this is our second recording. The first one will be debuting this week.
Oh, great.
So we're really excited. We've made some promotions and made a couple of shout outs on the other podcasts for you. So hopefully you'll get it well received by the community.
That's great. I will have to tell my children.
Yes, yes, please. I will definitely let you know the date and time this week when the first podcast episode will come out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, we have our producer Taylor here. How are you, Taylor?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. And we'll just jump right into it.
Sure.
Taylor, what do you have for us?
So today I wanted to talk about the biggest challenge you faced during your career. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Well, if it's in my career, I think the one of the biggest challenges that I faced was being an executive for IBM and the traveling and having children. Because in those days, it's not, I think today it's challenging being a mother, but in those days it was even more challenging because being a corporate woman and be traveling almost every week.
True.
I had 3 children at that time, and I have them in sports. The girl was in ballet, but I always counted with a support group.
Mhm.
And in that support group, I had my mother,
Okay.
that at that time she retired as a professor from the University of Puerto Rico. And I have a lot of stories of her as a retiree picking up the children at the schools because she used to tell me that she will get together with all these grandparents, that they were all professionals. And then, of course, they would arrive there like 1 hour before
Okay.
the kids would leave the school. And they would talk about politics. They would speak about things going on around the world. So I felt very good that my mother, even though she was doing a grandma job, she was also being entertained by a group of fellow people in the area. And I always was concerned as a mother and as a professional if I was raising my kids correctly.
Mhm.
That was something that I was always bothering my mind. And I remember that one time, I was traveling so often, I would say it was almost weekly, that I called my pediatrician. And I asked, he was a very good friend of the family. And I said, Diego, I'm concerned if all this traveling, I'm doing a good job as a mom. And he told me something that I tell today to my children. Mildred, it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality.
Indeed.
And then I learned that whenever I had a long trip, 3 weeks out of my house, that I have a housekeeper as well. And then my mother supervised me. I learned that I had to take 2 or 3 days off
Okay.
to be attending tennis classes, football classes, the ballet, so I would be a mom. Today, when I see my children, when we have a gathering, and I see them, 2 engineers, a clinical social worker, and I see them talking, I see how grateful I am to my Lord because I raise kids that they all completed college,
Mhm.
they have master's degree, they are doing very successful life. And most important, they are great parents. So it was a great job because now I'm, in a retired type thing.
Right.
But my children, I see them successfully serving the community.
Excellent.
So I think it's a component of support group,
Okay.
and most probable a member of your family.
Mhm.
And if it's a grandmother or a grandfather, it's even better. And you know that today the articles, excuse me, that are written are based that grandparents are doing the substitute place of a parent.
Yes.
So I am blessed.
You are, and that's true. More and more grandparents are doing the parenting of their grandchildren because their parents are, working or, for one reason or another, they need that extra help.
Correct.
Have there been moments in your career and as a mother where you felt, I guess, conflicted that
Correct.
they were pulling?
All the time.
Okay.
I have a very good friend today. He's an ophthalmologist,
Mhm.
and he is my ophthalmologist. We were talking about that issue the other day, and he was telling me, Mildred, I brought my mother and my father from Miami to live here in Orlando
Mhm.
just to be with my children whenever I need them. He has a housekeeper. His wife is a doctor as well.
Okay.
But grandma and grandpa picks up the little ones in the Montessori school.
Okay.
So, it's a continuation. And that has proven to be so successful that I think that more and more parents are really looking for grandparents to be the substitute. So to speak.
Right, I agree. And these times, having that support, because we're seeing more and more families just spread across, the country or even the world because of, demands of work and things like that, and having that extra support and also that influence too
Correct.
on the children.
Yes.
And another set of eyes and ears helps a lot.
It's interesting. Now that I'm old or mature or experienced, my mother would say experience. I even watched when the whole family is together. We're 15
Mhm.
with the grandchildren. So when we get together for Thanksgiving, there are 3 tables set up. One for the teenagers, one for the parents and me, and another for the little ones. I observe table manners.
Mhm.
And when I walk in, I said, children, I'm watching table manners. And they immediately take the napkin and they make sure the fork is there in the right place, and they smile because they know. And that's grandparenting.
Yes, yes.
I love it.
They become better adults, better people.
Absolutely.
And they learn more from just observation, from listening, sometimes from not listening to learn.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there a moment where you, as a commissioner, saw in the community what could be improved as far as our families that you see in your own families? Like, maybe we can apply this to the greater community.
Yes, education is a big thing for me.
Okay.
I come from a highly educated mother in those days.
Sure. Okay.
And my mother, with a lot of years teaching at the University of Puerto Rico, she completed also her master's degree in public administration. So my mother instilled in me
Mhm.
the importance of education. And one of the things that I always was concerned as a county commissioner is how the school, even though as a commissioner, I didn't have a lot of influence on the school board, but to me, each time I would look into statistics, how children are doing in math, how they're doing in science, because I have 2 children, engineers,
Okay.
and they are successful because they were good in math and science. And then, of course, I am in love with the STEM program.
Mm-hmm.
STEM program for me, and I would love to see all kids hands-on or at least in a classroom looking to that STEM, because I do believe, I'm a firm believer that the success of any city, any county, any state, it's education.
Indeed.
And education for me was something that I was always observing. And what I tried to do as a county commissioner was to bring some of that knowledge that I had to parents whenever I had to go to a PTA or something, anything that it was innovative. In teaching, I would throw it away in the program or help those teachers and those parents to be better parents and be geared into education.
Okay. All right. Education is key.
It's key.
No doubt.
It's key.
No doubt. Taylor?
Another challenge that you've spoken openly about was the difficult period in your life when you were arrested. Can you share what was going through your mind during that time?
During that time, first of all, I looked for God immediately because I could not understand why I was arrested. So I said, Lord, what have I done incorrectly that it's causing this situation? And of course, I prayed a lot. And as I was being carried to the jail in Orange County, all I was thinking was about my children. Because when I was arrested, I had completed lunch with my daughter. That was her birthday. She had just had a baby, and she was celebrating her 16th year of marriage. So to me, it was traumatic what was going on. And I couldn't understand what was happening because I was very, very strict with the laws of the money, with the laws of campaign. And I had CPAs. I said, if it's something with money, I have CPAs handling that. I don't touch money.
Right.
So what's going on? And then when the interview started with FDLE, then I start understanding that it could have been a setup.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we all know today it was a setup. Yes. But I do believe also that the Lord has a purpose for everything. Mm-hmm. In my case, I do believe that the Lord was protecting me from political enemies.
Yes.
And I had a work to do in a prison. And I did that work because in prison, which it's another thing, that's a state prison. And I was in the worst prison in the state of Florida.
Right.
Because that prison is where the 3 death row women are there. Mm-hmm. So I was able to do some Christian work.
Right.
I help a lot of those women to really believe in God because they would question me. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing in prison is that they thought that I was an undercover for the governor to learn how they were treated and to report to the governor what was going on in prisons.
Okay.
So I eventually I will write my book.
Yes.
But I took notes every day of the things that I would observe in a legal aspect, spiritual aspect, political aspect, because there is a lot of politics inside a prison.
Okay.
And I would jot down the hour and the day that I would observe things. And then I would send all those documents. My daughter will pick them up. Mm-hmm. So I have a whole journal and with things written that caught my attention there.
Wow. Commissioner, you have a wealth of knowledge and inspirational story, particularly in regards to the ministry to women and how they received you and their doubts about you when you were there. How did they receive you? How?
They received me with a lot of respect.
Mhm.
I was never called inmate, not even by the guards.
Mhm.
The guards thought that I did not belong there.
Sure.
And then the ladies, I will never call them inmate. I always call them ladies.
Mhm.
I went to start doing statistic, and it's amazing the things that I saw in terms of women and women issues,
Okay.
because 99% of the women there are good moms,
Sure. Yes.
and they're there because of issues in life.
Mhm.
They got into drugs. Most of them are there because of drugs,
Okay.
and they had to go there because they couldn't find jobs.
Mm.
That's where I started to think, and I did some connections with a Christian person that went there in terms of Liberty University that has a program on prisons to educate those women so that when they come out, they could find a job. It was such an interesting thing.
I was not aware of that.
Oh, yes. And then with the experience that I had as a commissioner, he gave me all the information that the Liberty University came out. And when I read the program, I said, how can we adapt this to the real life?
Right.
And one of my dreams before God calls me home is to establish a pilot program in terms of education in prison where we can educate it like a charter school.
Okay. All
A
right.
charter school inside
Yes.
and I would love to have to that same prison that I was. I still have people there that knows me. So to educate those women,
Mhm.
then do some partnerships with the big people here with like Walmart,
Okay.
Wawa, and give jobs to these ladies. Because one of the challenges that we face when they get out is if they have been incarcerated, nobody will give them a job.
True.
Secondly, the judge that sees the case will ask them, in order to give them back the children, if she finds the children, because they are lost in the system.
Okay.
So when they get the children, they want to have the children, they have to have a job, they have to have housing.
Right.
So it's very different and very difficult. One of the things that I saw also is I look into budget, state budget for prisons.
Okay.
And one of the things that amazes me is that the budget for prison is almost as big as the school budget. So I said, why we don't take that budget? We apply some of that money to a charter school inside the prison. Because in my view, as a conservative, is prison, it's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Okay.
That was the first thing that I saw.
Okay.
If it's a waste of taxpayers' money and it's a revolving door,
Okay.
that's 70, 85%, I was reading the other day, they come back to prison. Why we don't get them here? We educate them and we bring them to the society with a job. So to me, that was amazing.
Mhm.
And this was one of the things that I sat with Amy Mercado
Yes.
when Amy was state representative. And as a matter of fact, she went with me.
Okay.
Oh, it was a great experience driving with Amy, because when we got to the prison, it was like panic time for the guards to
Okay.
have a state representative by surprise. And she announced that she was the state representative and I was her aide. Can you imagine? Aide when I was there before. But it was interesting for Amy because at that time she saw the things, but even though she couldn't see the housing, the rooms, the bedrooms, but we were in the area where visitors are. And she was able to talk to some of the ladies there and see the challenges that they face every day.
Wow. We're going to explore that in the future.
Yes.
There's so much, your journal, your future book, the experience with now property appraiser Amy
Yes.
Mercado. There's so much there, and just the women that you met and helped them come to faith also.
Oh, it was incredible because whenever I walk in the room, I was in a room with 85 other women.
Mhm.
And I would say, good morning, we're blessed this morning. They would tell me, one of them, I would never forget that, would say, how about the good morning? How we're going to be blessed. Look where we are. And I said, you know what? We're blessed because God is protecting us. And then I used to read my Bible at midnight. The guards knew that I was reading Bible.
Wow.
Because that's the time that it's quiet.
Okay.
Everybody's sleeping. And I always remember, they bring people all the time at any hour. So I'm reading my Bible in my cot. And I hear this sound. And I identified it was a new lady coming in.
Mhm.
And I walked to her and I said, do you understand that I am reading the Bible and you're making that noise?
Mhm.
You're interrupting me.
Mhm.
My talk to the Lord. Then she said, I didn't know you were talking to the Lord. Can you teach me? And I said, of course.
Mhm.
That lady became the most wonderful lady.
Wow.
I heard so much about her and how many times she have come back to prison
Yeah.
and what were the offenses.
Mhm.
And one time she never had anybody to come and see her
Oh, wow.
or put money for her to buy food.
Sure.
And I identify because I was blessed that my children will always put money for me to, if I wanted to buy something in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was in the line and she was in front of me to buy things in it's like a kiosk.
Okay.
So they told her when they checked the listing, they said, you don't have money here.
Mhm.
And I looked at her, she was so sad. And I said, you tell me, what do you need? And I will buy it for you.
Okay.
And then I went to her cubby she wanted soups.
Mhm.
When I saw how organized that woman was,
Okay.
I even made a comment to her, you could have been an engineer. The salt was in little bags, so well aligned.
Okay.
The sugar, the soups, everything. I was scared that I could make an error putting her stuff. That was a great experience to me because not everybody that is in a prison, it's a bad person.
That's very true. That's incredibly true.
I still have a lady that she had scoliosis,
Mhm.
very wealthy from Miami.
Okay.
And because of the scoliosis, she needed surgery and she became addicted to pills.
Oh, wow.
When she got caught by the police with a bottle of pills, The judge gave her 35 years in prison. She's still in prison.
35 years.
35 years. And today she's 54. When she got in prison, she was in her 30s. She had a high class because I met his mom, his family, her family. She had a high class hair salon where she had 20 employees.
Wow.
Everything was lost. You know how much it cost to taxpayer her surgery? Because she had surgery while I was there,
Right.
$1 million. Woo! So, and I check with her. I still talk to her whenever there is something weird going on in the prison. She will email me, and then I will give the information to my good friend, state legislators, and it's fixed immediately. You see? And I saw things that I would code or tell my daughter when she would visit me, my children, because there are things going on still in prison where totally inhumane.
Oh, wow.
That's another story.
That is another story.
Yes.
Taylor?
How did your time in prison change your perspective on life, leadership, and justice?
I still think, with the experience that I had, I still think that the justice system needs a lot of improvement.
Okay.
The powerful people are the ones that really, and it's not powerful because you have money, but you have connections.
Of course.
If you have those connections, you will be free.
Yes.
In terms of leadership, I would say that one of the things that, and we talk about that, in leadership, we have people running for positions that they have no clue what they are going to find. And they are in this leadership position. I see it when I watch the legislature, that sometimes they don't have an idea what the bill is about, even in the county commission. And in leadership, that's important.
Indeed.
If you're going to be in a leadership position, you have to know how the system works in order to help others. And at the end of the day, when you're in leadership position, especially in politics, you're there to serve.
Correct.
And in order to serve well, you have to be a good leader.
Indeed.
In my personal life, I think that I have come to a point to mature, to grow my relationship with God.
Okay.
And to, when you are in these situations that you want to do God's work, it's God's work. It's not your work. So the process of being 2 years in a prison gives you so much time to observe, to talk to God, and mature.
Okay.
Not in age, but mentally.
Exactly. Very true. Very true. Taylor?
After you were released, what was the hardest part of starting over?
I think the hardest part was how the friends and the community was going to accept me.
Okay.
And because, as always, you have people that understand that from the very beginning was a setup, but you have political enemies. And I always said, I'm not a Godiva chocolate to be liked by everybody. So those enemies will make sure that they will spread the wrong word. But I was surprised. I was very, very surprised because I was welcomed so well. And still today, I can tell and I can say that whenever I grab my phone to call someone higher up, they don't say no. They will always welcome me. I'm a hugger. Being a Hispanic from Puerto Rico, I like to hug. And I was famous as a county commissioner that I always remember once Scott Maxwell wrote
Yes.
that if you wanted to see Commissioner Fernandez, she hugs. And if you're her friend, she will hug you. If not, you're in trouble. So even people that does not belong to my line of thinking as a conservative, I still, and you have to forgive.
Sure. Yes.
If I want to be a good Christian, I have to forgive. So I'm doing very well. I'm doing consulting, and I'm helping other people to solve issues that are simple, and I can help them.
You're very helpful. I can attest to that, and I know when your name shows up on my phone, in my email, I respond. If I miss it, I'm like, oh my God, I missed her call. I mean, they respond. But yes, I mean, you're due that respect because of not just being a commissioner, but the woman that you are, the human that you are. And you lead a life that I think for many young people in the political space should, take into account and that it should matter to them and have the respect that you carry and is given to many people that I've seen interact with you.
And it's, I always said as a commissioner, when people walks into my office, I don't ask them, are you a Democrat or a Republican? No, I don't, because I'm a public servant. And if I'm a public servant, it doesn't matter who comes in.
Right.
They want to see me because they have some issue that I can. And I was very candid. I always remember I had a situation of a lady that her son was in prison.
Okay.
And he was in a federal prison. And I remember that when we closed the door, she started crying and she gave me the issue. And I remember telling her, this is completely out of hand for me as a commissioner, but I promise you something. I promise you that I will do everything I can to help you.
Excellent.
Happens to be that the person I contact for help, the individual, it was a surgery type thing.
Okay.
Had the surgery, and the surgeon told the inmate, you must have very good contacts in Orlando because you were not going to have the surgery.
Wow.
So, that's a public servant.
Yes.
I did not close the door because it was something that I could not be, I was not able to be involved better, but I tried.
Yes.
And it gave us a good result.
Excellent.
That made me
was
happy.
a good result. Excellent. Taylor?
What advice would you give to your younger self at that moment of crisis or to others who have faced public failure or made serious mistakes?
I think the first thing you have to do is talk to God. And it's not that you have to take a book and start praying. I talk to God like my friend, like this is the situation that I'm having. When I had my son with COVID,
Okay.
and he almost died.
Oh, wow.
It was terrible. To me, it was terrible because first was my son. Second, that son, when I was pregnant and I delivered him, I went into a coma, and he was the one to save me because of the nature of giving birth, the tumor was discovered.
Wow.
So I owe my life to my son, and talking to God and saying, he's dying and he's young. Take me and leave him. That's a crisis right there. I cried and I become emotional. I cried so much. And I talked to God so much. He saved his life. And to me, even my rest of the children know he's special for
Yes.
me. So in crisis, politics, you fail, I fail because I was in prison.
Okay.
I'm not supposed, I don't even have a traffic ticket
Mhm.
in my 30 something years in Orlando. And I was in a prison.
Mhm.
That was a big crisis.
Right.
But I turned to God because he knows everything and he knows the plan for you.
Yes, he does.
Yes. And during that time, I went even before going to prison. Dr. Charles Stanley in Atlanta,
Okay.
the pastor, I follow him always on TV,
Okay.
always. And would you believe that I drove to Atlanta 5 times to meet with Pastor Charles Stanley? He used to write me to prison.
Okay.
And one time he sent me, his thing was photography.
Okay.
That was his thing. He sent me 14 photographs, like for me to write to people. It was like cards.
Okay.
And then he told me, send it to the 15 people that you like the most. And he wrote me for my birthday, he wrote me a letter, which I have.
Wow.
So I went before going to prison. And then after I came out, I went to see him as well. And I remember when I saw him after I came out of prison, I said, Pastor Stanley, do you remember me? And he said to me, how can I forget the mayor of Orange County? So that was it.
Yes.
I have read all his books.
Wow. And he was an inspiration
Oh, yes.
to you, and it sounds like vice versa.
Yes. Yes. That, going to Atlanta and sitting in the second row, because the first row, the people that sits there are the donors to
Okay.
the church. That's a mega church.
Okay.
And I will always sit in the second row. And I always remember in one of his sermons, to me, he was talking to me because he started saying, if you think that because you are a Christian, you're not going to go through troubles, you're mistaken. You're going to be proof.
Yeah.
Your faith is going to be proof all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is correct. Taylor?
How do you hope people remember your legacy? It's not just the fall, but the comeback.
I think people will see the comeback as a person that has been renewed, a person that has gotten a lot of experience. I have more patience.
Okay.
Of course,
Yes.
more patience, because when you go through the worst and you see that you have come back because you have that connection with God, and it's in the Bible. It's a faith. It's about faith that you're proving. And that's the message that I send not only to my children that are young, because being young in the 40s, in the 43, that's when your challenges start, because you're already a professional and most probably you have children. So yes, the experience that I'm having right now is that I am being loved. And to me, that's important.
Very important. I am so grateful that, again, you have opened up your heart, your stories. It's fascinating. So much to talk about. Just so much to talk about. You open up your home to us to walk this journey of documenting you and everything about you that you're sharing with us beyond just the tabloid stories or whatever, but the Commissioner Mildred Fernandez. It's so hard for me to just say Mildred Fernandez. However, the genuine you and for the rest of the world to be introduced to you and hear your story. Just fascinating.
I think, and I have always said, I'm an open book. And I think that my mother instilled in me that. My mother was an open book. And I think that it has to do with being a teacher.
Okay, right.
And because you want to teach, you want to make sure that people does the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And with the experiences that you bring, whenever, and I have commissioners calling me, Commissioner, I need your advice on this. And I feel great when they ask me, I need your advice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I want to control, it's just that I want them not to go through some situations that I experience. I do believe that coming from corporate America,
Yes,
it was an asset for me and continues to be, because when you come from corporate America, you come from a decision-making process very different from what you see in federal, which I have the experience to work, and state. You see it differently, and it gives you a different flavor when you're doing that. And when I would, and I tell the other day during my birthday, one of my children, the things that he wrote about me, I started crying because he said, Mom, I appreciate and I love what you have taught me and what the counselor. And he was telling me, you're a visionary woman. And I look and I read that and say, really?
Oh.
So that I want everybody to enjoy the good things that I have enjoyed in life and use it as a teaching tool.
And there's so much to learn from you.
And I'm still learning.
The visionary part is very true. And the business perspective that you come from is very true. I'm learning. And the day that I stop learning is the day that God has called me.
Correct.
Taylor, is there one final question that we have?
What's next for you? Are there any projects, causes, or goals that you're passionate about right now?
Yes, I am passionate about, I would like to see that charter school.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And Amy, it's in another stage of her life and in her career, but I have another legislator that she knows what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I start to continue doing my political contacts to see how far I can get there. Right now, I'm doing counseling whenever they need me.
Okay.
And that is giving me some additional income. I have been blessed to work for IBM and be a retiree of IBM. And if God gives me enough help to write my book, I will. Because I have been asked when it's going to be done.
Yes.
But you have to be prepared.
True.
My mother used to write books as well.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And my mother used to say, you need to be in the mood. Even though I have my journals and the date, I learned that with Pastor Stanley. When God talks to you, because when you're reading the Bible, you have to put the hour and the date. Because when you go back, sometimes it's the message is even different. And I have learned that. And I did that with the journal.
Okay.
Whenever I saw something,
Okay.
or the ladies would call me a senator. They used to call me senator. They didn't know the difference. Senator, you need to look at this.
Okay.
And then I would go back to my area and I would write down the date. Sometimes I said, even the guards know that my situation, they might take this So I would make sure he would come to my house that weekend.
Okay.
So yes, and whatever, every morning when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for my coffee, I have a Jesus in front of my bed. And I said, Lord, give me the strength and give me the wisdom
Hmm.
to do today what you're asking me to do.
Indeed.
So I try during the day to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm in contact with him.
Always.
And so I have a big project, so God knows until when. He's the boss.
Always. Yes, indeed. Commissioner, thank you so much. And I really enjoyed our
My
conversation,
pleasure.
whether it's here on your podcast or, when we have our time together. And I would love to help you make that book become a reality and
Thank
everything
you.
else.
Thank
You are phenomenal.
It's God's work.
Always. Taylor, thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
And this is the Fernandez Legacy. We'll see you the next time. Thank you again. God bless. We love you. Take care.